Isela, would you like to kick us off?
For sure. So everybody, I think we have like a welcome here, and we do this in person. We do this thing where it's a welcome, like welcome to our space. And really today it's about like, thank you so much for inviting us into your space. Like we're all living in this like incredible reality that's lasted much longer than probably a lot of us thought it was going to last, and it may last even longer than we can imagine. So here we are, trying our best to build community. And so we're here today with Cal Coaching Network with the powerful questions session. And so my name is Isela Pena-Rager. I'm one of the co-chairs for the Cal Coaching Network, along with Colin Gerker, who will be introducing himself. Sorry about that. Cal Coaching Network, that's CCN for short. So the CCN is a community of practice, as many of you know. It's a staff org sponsored by Berkeley People and Culture for staff, employees at UC Berkeley. The goal of this community of practice is to bring campus events focused on building coaching skills and coaching culture. Our sessions include knowledge exchange, skill practice, dialogue, reflection, and the dreaded word networking. And so this is like networking with a little n. And so it's really about building community and finding your support network and feeling comfortable. We really want you to please check out the Cal Coaching Network website for previous sessions. We have our slide decks there on the link. And our June session, just as a reminder, was a collaboration with our friends in the Advancing Practice group, which is all of you who are intersection and the student services community will know about Advancing Practice, led by Susan Hekstrom. And it was about equity-oriented academic coaching. So our April session focused on strategies for effective remote coaching. And so that's sort of been what we've done so far in this remote environment. And then looking at just, October, what's coming up, we will highlight coaching at the intersection of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. So coaching that isn't necessarily focused on students or academic coaching, more on staff, on the staff side. But really, it's really been important. We've heard you. There's been a need for more diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging in the space of coaching and in the conversations that we're having. And if this is your first time participating in a CCN session, we really welcome you and thank you for your presence, and again for inviting us into your space. For those returning, welcome back. Thank you for inviting us again into your space, and then so glad that you're here contributing to building the coaching culture at UC Berkeley. So what is coaching? Coaching is partnering with an individual in a really thought-provoking and really like a creative process that helps maximize the full potential of the individuals. A coaching can be done either in a formal setting or in an informal way. And so many of you would have heard of like Achieve Together if you're non-represented staff. It's a cycle that's happening now. And so that's a little bit more formal. And coaching happens anytime that someone listens to understand, asks powerful questions. A coach's role is really to help folks discover, explore, plan, and support for success. And really it's the coachee that's doing the work. The coach is kind of asking those questions, and the coachee has the knowledge and the skill to thrive. All right, and so for me, I wanted to just highlight like coaching for me means love, support, care, and really believing in someone, like believing like their truth. Everybody has different stories, believing their stories, and then embracing that individual as a whole. And so that's kind of what coaching means to me. And I've seen coaching, and even if I didn't know it in that way, in many different facets of my life, as a student, growing up, and with bosses or supervisors, but also with colleagues and peers that have really proven to be leaders and coaches in my life. And so I'll pass it over to Colin.
Thanks, Isela, and welcome everybody. Thank you so much for welcoming us into your spaces. I'm just going to very briefly talk a little bit about how we're building coaching culture at UC Berkeley. This is something that we are all doing, and I want to recognize that and thank you for that incredible work that you're doing. Just very briefly, I'm Colin. I use he, him pronouns. I work in the Berkeley People and Culture office. I have the honor of co-chairing the Cal Coaching Network with the wonderful Isela Pena-Rager. It is just such an incredible honor to be able to lead with Isela, as well as to collaborate with our wonderful team, with our inaugural Cal Coaching Network leadership team. It's a brand new coaching community of practice. We've had some really, really engaging and exciting sessions, and we look forward to your feedback regarding what types of engagements you'd like to see in the future. I'm a consultant on the Berkeley People and Culture team. I get to work on a lot of different coaching initiatives. I'm our project manager and training lead for the Achieve Together performance program. I get to work on that brand new program and get to work with lots of you one-on-one and in groups about flexing that muscle of having great, meaningful, effective problem solving, feedback exchange, and clarifying of expectations, performance-related conversations. And everybody's doing a great job. So thank you so much for your hard work. Let's just kind of talk about why it's so important to have a coaching culture. There was a study that was conducted by the Human Capital Institute that indicated that organizations with strong coaching cultures have 25% more highly engaged employees. That's about supporting your coworkers. It's about doing the work that you love and doing it well. It's about going above and beyond. It's about being retained. It's about staying where you are because you get to work on things that you like to work on. It's about having open conversations where you can revisit expectations as they change, share feedback up, down, sideways, diagonally, and circuitously in ways that matter to you, and that you can feel like you belong and that you are worth being here. It is so incredible that people can be their selves at work, but we have to do the work to make sure that people can be invited into that space to show their true self. When we're looking at kind of programmatically, how are we building coaching culture at UC Berkeley? The Growing as a Coach class is one example. Close to 600 managers have been trained on that new model through this Berkeley People Management course. We still have some of those offerings left on the calendar, so if you're interested, check out BPM 206 Growing as a Coach. It's facilitated by myself and the wonderful Ying Hua. We look forward to seeing you there. We also have the Achieve Together program, which includes a dynamic of coaching. We have check-in questions, but then you ask questions that go deeper than that, right? Those are your prompts to start, but then coaching allows you to go deeper with our coaching model, discover, explore, plan, and act to support employees in their success. We also have the Cal Coaching Network, the space you're in right now. Thank you to those 58 people who are there contributing to building coaching culture. We have local coaching circles if you're interested in one of those. Peer manager groups coming together to strengthen their coaching muscle and refine their approach to coach for excellence and support their teams. Let me know, happy to help. We also have the BPM 360 developmental assessments and coaching. So basically this offers 360 assessments in a developmental way with a one-on-one professional coach. There's a nominal fee for 360 assessments. However, if you're interested and that's something that might be valuable to you, please let me know. I'm happy to connect you with our team. And a couple other things I wanted to share with you is that we have one-on-one confidential career coaching from the Berkeley People and Culture team. Lisa Reichert and Linda Lemberg are our two confidential career coaches. You can reach out directly to them or look them up on our website, grow.berkeley.edu. And I offer one-on-one coaching for performance. You're looking to get better at having performance conversations, happy to have those discussions with you and to support your success. And one more thing before I am totally done talking, we have a brand new Berkeley People Management Executive Coaching Program that anyone who is a full-time employee of at least one person or making up one person among multiple people that make up one FTE, you can check out the eligibility requirements. There is a nominal fee. However, this executive coaching program is 85% subsidized of the actual cost. Most of the cost is picked up by Berkeley People and Culture. We know this is a difficult time in terms of finances. It's still our responsibility as an organization to develop employees for the future. So we wanted to kind of call that out, recognize that. Applications are due September 1st. Happy to answer questions about that program. So these are a lot of new things, a lot of wonderful work happening. And I'm really, really excited to introduce our wonderful facilitators today. They're actually our co-chairs of learning and programs on the Cal Coaching Network. Kristen Brooks and Nancy Donovan are going to be our facilitators today regarding practicing powerful questions. And I'm very, very excited to turn it over to them, for them to introduce themselves and for us to get started with our session. So with that, thank you so much for your presence, and I'll turn it over to you, Kristen and Nancy.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Kristen Brooks. I am a student advisor in the Department of South and Southeast Asian Studies, and I'm also excited to take on this new role of co-chair with Nancy Donovan with programs and learning with the Cal Coaching Network. So I'm going to start by giving you an overview of what we have planned today. And it's just a real brief overview, just so you know what's coming. But I'll start with just a brief overview of why powerful questions, why we're choosing questions to look at versus another area of coaching, and how we came up with the workshop design, what was the motivation behind it. And then it's very clear from the feedback that people on campus who are interested in coaching really want to practice. So we really want to just break you into those groups right away and give you a chance to practice. And we'll be focusing on presence and curiosity in that first breakout session. Then we'll come back and we'll have a brief check-in, and then we'll go into more specifics of the tools of powerful questions, some examples of what powerful questions would be, just to kind of start getting into our mind and the tools. And then again, break out into more sessions so that we're going to have more time to actually practice coaching and being coached. And the coachee can have a chance to respond to some of those powerful questions. Before we start, we should just quickly go over the community agreements of what we're holding and what we're expecting. And I'm going to hand that over to Nancy to go over that with us.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nancy Donovan, and I'm really pleased to be here with everybody today. As Colin said, thanks for inviting us into your space. So community agreements, it's always great to be clear when you're sharing space with people. What are we here for, and what are the rules? Or the guidelines. So we're going to be learning and practicing coaching techniques today. I want to thank you and acknowledge ourselves and each other. We've shown up to do this work together. We want to be brave. We want to try new skills and practice without perfection. I love that. It doesn't have to be perfect, and really nothing's perfect. And the logistics, use the chat to communicate with each other and the facilitators. We're gonna have the fabulous Isela be shouting out the questions when we come to, if you have questions about any of the particulars. And with that, I will hand it back over to Kristen for the first part of the session. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Okay, so why powerful questions? As a coaching tool, questions, I remember one of the first in-person sessions that the Cal Coaching Network did before the world changed and COVID hit, was listening. And questions is sort of the cousin to listening. So it's worth a whole session to really go into that. And I think the reason why practicing and learning more about asking powerful questions is so important in coaching is it really is a way to show and symbolize that powerful relationship that Isela was talking about in the beginning of what is coaching. It's a way for the coach to say, to hand it back to the coachee and say, this isn't about me, this isn't about my knowledge, I'm going to keep directing this back to you. And we're gonna, by asking powerful questions, you're really handing the power back to the coachee and letting the work that is coming through the two of you come through. It's a way to really guide and create that space. How we wanted to tackle this is when the four of us are designing these workshops, we're really looking at there's 62 people who are going to show up to learn more about coaching. So we really want to learn more about coaching, and we really want to practice more coaching. So how are we going to do that? I think the learning is going to be quick, and then we really want to give you the chance to really go into the practice space. And when we were discussing this and how are we really going to have people practice powerful questions, of course, there's so many resources out there and lists of a bunch of different powerful questions that you can ask. And I know when I am the person that is on the call trying to learn and practice, and I see a list of questions, my brain and my mind gets really involved. And then I'll break into my session and I'll say, okay, which was the question? Which one should I ask? And as my coachee is talking, I'm more in my head trying to remember the list of questions, planning out which question I'm going to ask, and it becomes a very cerebral process. So we thought, wouldn't this be fun if we give everyone the opportunity to really, we'll give them permission to come out of their head and come into their intuitive body, heart space. And really what we're inviting you to do is really come into that mindful, present space and have an experience of being the coach from that place, and really giving you permission to be courageous and practice your presence, as well as noticing your own curiosity without needing to remember the script of what the powerful question should be. So what we're going to do, could I have the next slide that talks about how we're going to break into the sessions, is I'm going to walk through this, and then if you have a question that comes up as I talk about it, please throw that into the chat, and then Colin and Isela will be watching the chat, and they can always ask me the question. So when you, I think most of you, it's been 5 months now, we've all been on these Zoom calls. I remember in the beginning, I thought, how am I going to go into my breakout session? So I just wanted to assure everybody, you will just be magically zoomed into your pair. You will emerge in a group of 2. What I'd like for you to do is introduce yourselves to each other, and then whoever has the closest birthday, so today or tomorrow would be considered the closest birthday, you're the person that's going to be the coach. And then the person with the farthest birthday from today and farthest in the future, will be the one that is the coachee. And this is really an exercise for the coach to be able to really observe, really practice your own presence as a coach, and to really be able to practice your own noticing of your own curiosity. So the coachee, in service of the coach, will share for about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes of the issue that's going on for them. So the supervisor, I'm not sure, I'm not working out enough, blah, 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 whatever the coachee decides they want to share. And the coach is going to have the opportunity to really practice presence. However you do that. For me, it's usually feeling my feet on the ground and feeling myself sitting in the chair and breathing and trying to come into my body and out of my mind. So I invite you to do what you do for your mindfulness practice and your presence. And then as the coachee's talking, really notice your own curiosity about what you're curious about without needing to edit yourself of, is this a good question? Am I doing this right? Just sort of go ahead and notice. It can be as silly as, oh, I wonder what that cactus is in the background, or I wonder where they live. That's such a nice house. Whatever the thing is that you're noticing, go ahead and just notice yourself noticing your own curiosity. And then at the end, we're going to give the coach a chance to share and reflect back what that experience was like as a coach, to be staying very present and to be noticing what you're noticing. And I do want to note that it's not really about questions at this point, meaning whatever the coach is curious about, the coachee does not need to give the answers to it. It's just an exercise for the coach to notice the depth of their curiosity. So now that I've said all that, I've done a lot of talking, I want to make sure that's landing and clear. Are there, Isela and Colin, are there any questions in the chat that are seeming like they need clarification?
Yeah, so we have one question from Yesenia. Hi, Yesenia. What kind of issues are we talking about? So I think we're talking about what kind of personal things, real things are folks expected to talk about?
It really can be what the coachee would like to talk about, as far as what, if they were to have a real coaching session today, what would they be wanting to address with their coach? Keeping in mind this particular exercise is really in service of the coach's experience of getting to practice presence. So something authentic to the coachee that they share that they feel like would be something they want to address.
I'm going to jump in. I just saw something in the chat about why would I be thinking about the cactus and not what's going on. And I think that that's a great question, because when Kristen and I were designing this session, I really liked the part of this gives a chance for the coach to, it's very much a mindfulness practice, kind of to bring yourself back to the present. And it's hard to be a good listener, to be a deep listener. So you know, in meditation, you notice your mind wandering and you bring yourself back to the issue. So I think that's really what we want to be practicing here, is just really being mindful and really being present. And when you notice yourself drifting away, just come back and don't be judgy.
Exactly.
It looks like we have a really great suggestion for a good question. Like, what is on your mind? So it can be as simple as something like that. What's on your mind?
Yeah, that's good.
And then we have someone else, Kathleen. So the coach is not really trying to yet help the coachee, just share back what they noticed about themselves.
Yes, this is a an exercise. It's not exactly coaching at this point. It's an exercise for the coach to go ahead and have permission to really practice presence where they don't feel like they have to do good coaching. This is for the coach to notice their own, practice their own presence and notice their own curiosity.
Looks like that's all we have for now as far as questions or comments.
Okay, so can we zoom everybody into their pairs?
Yeah, absolutely. It is possible you will be in a group of 3, but it is most likely you will be in a group of 2. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and put folks into breakout groups, and we're going to give you, I think, how many minutes for this one? It's 8 minutes total. We'll let you know when it's time to come back. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Unless they jump ship.
It's like always a good problem to have when you only have less than half people left and 10 seconds left on the meeting rooms, because they're still talking, so that's fine.
Procedure and stuff like that. Okay, I'm being sent back.
Oh, here they are. Yeah, automatically all coming back to us. Oh, welcome back, everybody. And most everybody stayed with us too. That's pretty cool. So this is, I'm going to invite everyone to put some reflections into the chat. So as I ask questions, go ahead and throw your the chat. You know, I'm really curious how this went. I mean, we just made this up. We're like, this would be really cool to see. So I'd love to hear how it worked. What was it like as the coach to have that chance to really practice presence? And also, what did you notice yourself being curious about? You know, what was happening in your mind or body as you were doing it? And as I'm asking these questions, Colin and Isela will be monitoring the chat and just kind of, do you guys see any themes of what people?
Yeah, there's a couple, just a couple of comments, just folks acknowledging that maybe it's not enough time, especially if they landed in a group of 3.
Okay.
Some people are saying, oh, that was 8 minutes, what? But they love breakout rooms. It seemed like 3 minutes. There were some people were a little confused about the exercise and how to make the most of the time.
Okay.
And then there's people are reflecting on having, you know, maybe they should have timed it better as the coachee. As the coach, they wanted to help. They found themselves wanting to help. It went really fast. As a coach, I felt this need to talk and forcing myself to listen. I kept on wanting to ask questions. Let's see, very hard not to role play the coach and to focus on recognizing my own curiosity. Somebody else, Mary, love having the practice, though so quick. Yes, please, more role playing practice. So it felt great to support and listen for someone. Paying more attention to every word and the tone is what they noticed themselves doing.
I'm noticing the, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Isela. I'm noticing the theme of how quick it was. And I want to say that we designed it where this was really kind of an icebreaker to kind of get started, and that the next breakout session is going to be the meatier, chunkier. So I'm thinking maybe we should move into that just so we can, maybe we'll pad it a little bit, get a little extra time, since it sounds like people need a little more time in there. We really want you to have the chance to practice. So I'll stop talking and I'll give it to Nancy, who's going to walk us through the next piece about the questions. How are we going to do this?
Okay, so welcome back, everybody. And yes, we are going to have another breakout room and a chance to, I just thought it was fun to think about watching yourself listen during that. And that's, you know, that's kind of a nice headline to take away from that practice. And maybe you can incorporate a little bit of that into our next breakout session. So we're going to get a chance to practice powerful questions. Again, it's a safe space. We're going to give each other unconditional positive regard and pick a topic that's meaningful for you. What's happening, what's going on for you right now? That was a great question. So I'm going to tell a little story, and then we have some powerful questions up on the screen, and then I'll tell you exactly how our next breakout's going to work. So whenever I'm writing something or designing a workshop or anything creative, whatever I'm watching on television or listening to on a podcast, there's tends to be something that comes up that's spot on about that. So I was listening to NPR a couple weeks ago. Regis Philbin had recently died, and there was a tribute to him, and a story came up about Regis Philbin, the person who's Guinness Book of World Records most person on TV ever. And he was finished with the Navy and ready to start his career. And he knew his parents weren't going to be supportive of him getting into TV, but it's what he really wanted to do. So the major, his supervisor, was saying goodbye, and what do you want to do with your life? I mean, that's a powerful question, right? And Regis, who was insecure, which I love because we're all insecure sometimes, and he just was brave and said, I really want to go into TV. And the major boomed at him. I love that powerful word. Do you want this? And Regis said, yes. And then he went on, the major said, make it happen. And Regis went on. So do you want this? What a powerful question, right? So we've got some powerful questions up there on the screen. Maybe if we can move to question 2, great. And then I'm working with a coach right now, which is really a great experience. And here's some questions that she came up with, which we've done in sessions too. Where are you hiding from your greatness? How can you fully express yourself? What might happen if you weren't afraid to do this? What do you really want? What is holding you back? What's the most important thing that you need to do next? What's the greatest gift you offer? I really like that one. And then follow-up questions. Say more, reflecting back. Did I get that right? So those are questions, powerful questions, follow-up questions, a story about a powerful question really having impact in someone's life. And so we're going to go back into breakout rooms, and we might have a little bit more time than we thought, because I think I went through that material pretty quickly, so that might be cool. So can we have the next slide about the next breakout room, please? Cool. All right, so here we are, same format with the first person, the coach, has the closest birthdays. The coachee has the furthest birthday. So first, the coachee is going to choose an issue that they're going to talk about for less than 2 minutes or so. Then the coach will ask a powerful question. The coachee will respond, a follow-up question, and then response. So, and everybody will have a chance to play both roles. So hopefully we can, I'm not sure if Colin can make the magic happen that everybody is in two people in each breakout session, so that everybody gets a full chance to have, to play both roles and whatnot. So a little bit of advice: do your best to stay present to the other person. Eye contact as much as that's possible. On Zoom, that's a little tricky. Try and have open, responsive posture. I liked what Kristen said about, having your feet on the ground and be present, however it is that you are present, and have a little bit of fun with it if you can. So, and then we'll come back. Does anybody have any questions about this second breakout session?
I think there were some comments earlier just about how, I don't know if people will go into the same groups, but the concern around there being 3 people, not being enough time for everyone to practice. And then there was also, so Justin was offering that in their group of 3, they had 2 people serve as a coach at the same time listening to the coachee. So that was one approach. And then I think folks were also saying that they needed a little bit more time in the beginning to just talk about like their birthdays, to figure that out and their names. And then we can go from there. And someone's asking, can we go back a slide so we can take a screenshot of the questions, or will these questions actually be posted in the chat?
Yeah, so I took about a minute just to have that powerful questions number 2. So folks can take a screenshot of that. We're on to that powerful questions number 1. So if you want to take a screenshot of that real quickly, we can put those questions in the chat as well. Nancy or Kristen, if you want to grab that from your script so you can drop those into the chat, that would be really helpful. It is possible you will be in a group of 3. The math is not perfect, but most likely you will be in a group of 2.
Right, and it looks like we're running a little bit ahead of schedule, so I think we could do 10 minutes. So for this breakout, so let's go break out and practice powerful questions and stay safe and have fun.
Yeah, and then I just wanted to acknowledge that someone, Yesenia, is saying, what about going in order of the first letter of the person's name? However it works for your group, go for it. It doesn't have to be, but it's just kind of a guide if you're having trouble choosing who goes first.
That's good, thank you.
We're going to go into breakouts.
Thanks, Colin. Well, welcome back, everybody. I hope that was great for you. We're wanting, if you want to pop some things into the chat about what was the experience like for you? What did you notice about yourself as a coach? What did you notice about yourself as a coachee? Any feedback, any ideas, any reflections on how that experience?
Yeah, I like Kira's perspective. Have to remember to ask questions rather than solve problems. I am the quickest rush to advice giver in the world, so that one is very challenging for me. I appreciate you calling that in. It's about that listening and asking questions and guiding and partnering.
And it sounds like this is something we were talking about. Kim said that they love going back to the same group. Didn't have time to spend time reintroducing, just got into it. And so maybe not everyone's experience was that, but it's nice that Zoom kind of does that, puts you back generally in the same groups. Someone, Ken, is saying that they struggled with their powerful question. Margie is saying the questions really brought me into the feeling of relationship with my partner. And so Pam is saying that the first question was not too hard, but then it was hard to try to solve. So once getting into the solving or solution mode seemed a little bit more tricky. And then, yeah, just general feedback, gratitude. It was good. Felt like in the future I would like more time spent. Okay. Would like more practice with questions. Hard to not rush into problem solving mode. So this is a theme, like, you know, getting into like, I want to solve your problems. I want to give you solutions. Really listening before jumping to the powerful questions. Amy shares, it took me 3 versions to find the right question that named what my curiosity wanted to ask. But in the end, Amy got it. And now Immaculate sharing, it was easy for me to listen and come up with follow-up questions. So really a range of experiences, it sounds like.
The wisdom of the room. I love that phrase. That's a great phrase. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for being present and willing to learn, and all the honesty and grace and presence in the room. And, you know, this is the dreaded networking word. If you end up meeting somebody that you want to have a informal coaching practice session with, you're totally welcome to do that. And so I'm going to turn it back over to Colin and Isela to wrap us up. And we hope to see you at programs in the future. So again, thanks everybody so much. It was really a pleasure.
So folks, we will be recording this session, editing it down, putting it up on YouTube. It'll be available on the Cal Coaching Network website. I'm not going to revisit our resources today. They are listed for you right there. You'll get the slide deck. You'll get these resources. I'm going to ask Katie Carson, our wonderful assessment lead in the Cal Coaching Network, to come off mute just for a moment to talk a little bit about the survey that we have for you for this session. So Katie, I'll turn it over to you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Katie Carson. So I will be reaching out to you for feedback. So I am putting a link in chat to a really quick Google form to be able just to give some quick feedback on our session today and give any input that you have about future CCN events. But yeah, we would love to hear what you have to say about the events and what you would like in the future.
Thank you so much, Katie. We appreciate your hard work with that assessment. Let us know what you think. We're looking forward to reviewing. Isela?
Yeah, reading all the gratitude here. We just want to say again, thank you. Please stay tuned for the information about the October Cal Coaching session. I do want to just reiterate that I will reach out to you all with the links and all of that good stuff. So you don't have to worry about the URL right now. But it is on our CCN website. So just a quick thank you and acknowledgement of the leadership team that we were able to, in our remote work, put together. So super huge shout out to Kristen Brooks here today, Programs and Learning, Nancy Donovan, also Programs and Learning, Immaculate, I saw you in here, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Chair, and Paul Garnett and Liliana Cardile are Communities and Networks Chairs. And then Katie, you just heard from Katie Carson, is our Assessment and Records Chair. And of course, Colin and I as your co-chairs. Really lovely to have you all here and to be welcomed into your spaces. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful afternoon and a great weekend. Take care, and thanks for joining us in the Cal Coaching Network. We'll see you back in October.